Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you watched my last video with the SMT10, you know I came across a few things I want to change on the truck. I got all the parts in, so I guess it's time to tear into this and see if we can make some improvements. I mentioned a few things about the truck that I thought needed fixing. The suspension seemed too stiff, and after doing some research, it seems like mounting the shocks on the axle stiffens up the suspension. I picked up some Proline powerstroke shocks, and I'm going to set up the suspension a little differently with these. I also mentioned the weak links, pun intended. I found these Incision links that use a larger thread and rod end that should work better. After running the truck a while, I realized that the lock diffs, or even semi-lock diffs like I attempted, is pretty bad for handling in general. While I have the axles off the truck to swap out everything else, I'll go ahead and put some oil back in them. I actually tore everything apart already, so I can jump straight into these changes. Starting with the diffs, I have some 500K fluid left over from rebuilding the diffs in my Notorious that I'll use in the rear. The front is getting 60K fluid. I want the diffs open, but I still want limited slip. I've rebuilt the diffs in this truck in a bunch of videos already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. On to the links. I picked up the Vanquish trailing arm delete kit for the SMT10, as well as the upper links. These have a larger diameter thread, like I mentioned, and use what looks like a Revo rod end. I've had good luck with Revo rod ends in the past, and if they aren't strong enough, RPM makes replacements that are pretty tough. They go together pretty easily and look really good. I'm liking the size comparison and the feel of these compared to the old Crawford Performance links I was using. Those are aluminum while the new ones are stainless steel, so it's definitely got more weight to it. This was a simple enough install, and I'm hoping I don't have to worry about broken rod ends and hanging links anymore. And now to the fun part. These Proline powerstroke shocks are super nice, but with this truck I'm looking for a soft suspension. My main and probably only complaint with the shocks is they don't provide any extra pistons for tuning to your truck. For as much as you have to pay for them, it would be nice to have more tuning options. Enough ranting though. I fixed that easily enough by drilling 2 more holes in the pistons. The point of this is to let the oil flow through the shock easier. For fluid, I'm going to try 15 in the front and 30 in the rear. I don't really have any science behind that. That's just what I'm going to try first. One more thing to finish the shocks off. I picked up a set of Pro Spec rear springs. I'm going to try out the blue springs first, which is the softest. If it's too soft, I can work my way up to where I like it. That's already way better, but we still have to add the sway bars. You may have noticed I mounted the shocks on the middle location on the axle and in the innermost hole on the chassis. I'm changing the location of my sway bars for this setup. Looking at pictures of different trucks in the full-size Monster Jam series, just about all run the rear sway bar behind the axle and shock. The front varies, but I saw a few with the sway bar in the front of the shock, so I'll try that. The rear sway bar will now pass conveniently through the holes in the wheelie bar. I'm going back to using the original RH design links to attach them to the axles. Now to get the sway bar out front, in the front, I designed a bracket that bolts to the frame and the bar runs right through it. With the sway bars buttoned up, the truck really has that monster truck feel to it. The suspension feels way better than before, but we won't know for sure until the truck is completely back together. I'm gonna get the steering redone and throw the tires on and then come back to wrap up this video. Alright, so I got the tires back on and the steering back together for now. I say for now because I put the Kimbrough servo saver back on, but I also dug out my old Proline Big Hit servo saver. I didn't like it on my past setup, but I want to test them both now and see what I like better. The suspension looks and performs great so far just on the bench and with a quick drop test. Of course, the true test will be a hard bashing session, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any upcoming videos. For today, I'm happy. Let me know how you think it looks in the comments below. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks again for watching. Peace.